Sorry. Okay. So again, when we say Hashem does not care of the randomness, okay, that doesn't mean chas v'chalila that he doesn't care, which means he doesn't micromanage nature. Yeah, he puts a system in place. He puts natures. He puts nefashot, like the Rambam calls it in the 8th chapter, his introduction to Pirkei Avot, Shmoneh Prakim, where he says the monkey has his own nefesh, the lion has his own nefesh, the elephant has his own nefesh, the eagle has his own nefesh, and they behave a certain way, and that's part of the laws of nature that he implemented and put in place, and he lets it be. He lets it operate on its own. Kivyachol, right? Because what does it mean on its own? It means that the will of Hashem lives within each and every creation with a certain parameters and a certain structure, and behaves based on that. If you see, for example, if you see a crocodile behave like a turtle, it's abnormal, right? You're never going to see that. A crocodile behaves like a crocodile, and a turtle behaves like a turtle, and the turtle will never run like a ram. That's how it is. So this is called the will of Hashem in nature. Now, humans have the intellect, and through that intellect can interact with Hashem and reveal the truth and get to this hidden or internal connection that Hashem put in place. Am Yisrael, at Matan Torah, we were granted, blessed, given, okay, when Hashem says Am Segula, we are Am Segula, a divine connection, which we call the Neshama Israeli, the Neshama, that connects us directly to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that Neshama is de facto. Everyone has it. The only way you can get rid of that Neshama Chaz v'Chalila is if you're an apikot. Right, so that's Am Yisrael. Then you have a larger pipeline, if you call it like if you have a channel, you have a larger channel for the Leviim. They were granted based on their actions of not sinning. Then you have a larger pipeline which is called Kohanim for their avodah. Then you have a larger pipeline which is called the Kohen Gadol for his representation of all Am Yisrael. And then you have a larger pipeline for the Talmid Chacham. Now, if you see the reason why you have such a larger pipeline can be or seen because of the what they were granted, but also for what they represent in Am Yisrael. The Leviim, they serve Am Yisrael. The Kohanim, they serve the Leviim and Am Yisrael. The Kohen Gadol, he serves the Kohanim, the Leviim, and the Kohen Gadol. And the Talmid Chacham serves all Am Yisrael, everybody. Right? Because the Talmid Chacham will teach the Kohen Gadol, will teach the Kohanim, will teach the Leviim, will teach Am Yisrael. So the more you are at the service of Am Yisrael for Hashem, and the more your pipeline is wide, and the wider your pipeline is, the more flow of Hashem's presence, Hashem's will, comes down into the person. The more flow that comes down, the more that person can use that wisdom, use that koach, use that presence, okay, to impact society, to impact the community, Am Yisrael, but also to impact nature. The more you can utilize and you are in control of that power, which is Hashem's inflow of His will inside you, the more you become his extension, his ambassador in nature. You are now the representative of Hashem. You are now behaving the way Hashem wants. So you are Him. Chaz v'chalila, we're not talking, you're not God, yeah? But you are His representative. By being His representative with His seal of approval and power, okay, that's how you can tap into His will in nature. And now if you are His will and His nature is His will, you become the will of nature. And that's how the tzaddik, the Talmid Chacham, can change nature. That's how we see tzaddikim that made those miracles. Aser etzoncha kirtzono, make your ratzon, make your will His will. and make His will your will. If you can make His will your will, okay, then everywhere you will find the will of Hashem, it becomes your will. The moment it becomes your will, then you can start changing things. And that's why, and this is the understanding of all those amazing miracles that we've heard about, or we've been exposed to, or with all those tzaddikim. And it rises. And then you have a Ruach HaKodesh, and then you can have Nevuah, or be ready for Nevuah, for prophecy, all the way to Moshe Rabbeinu, where Moshe Rabbeinu's pipeline was so wide and so big that all there was is the will of Hashem. There was nothing else.
Rav, does each neshama have the capability to get all the way up to that level?
Absolutely. The Ari HaKadosh writes in Shara Gilgulim that there is Moshe Rabbeinu in each and every one of us. And our avodah is called Ibura Neshamot. It's the rebirth of Neshamot, which basically you graduate from a level of Neshama, and then you are given a new Neshama, which is the same essence, the same root, but on a higher level. You graduate that level, you are given another one. You are graduate all the way until you reach your Moshe Rabbeinu of your own Neshama. And this is what Chachamim mean when they say Shemuel bedoro ke Moshe bedoro. The prophet Shmuel was exactly was the Moshe of his generation. What does that mean? He was able to reach the level of his own Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, Moshe Rabbeinu, there was only one. But is there a Moshe within each and every one of us to be the fullest expression of our potential and will of Hashem? That everybody has. So you can be your own Moshe. That doesn't mean you are Moshe. Yeah,
right.
Moshe, there was only one. We have. Are we clear with that? Is there any more questions before we dive into the deep sea of the 9th perek?
Too many, but I'm gonna hold it.
Oh, okay, all right. So we'll go slowly. Manya say slowly. This morning I was thinking about about the approach of this show, and I was very, very nervous. And I'm like, I don't understand, why am I nervous? Because it's a big responsibility. This parent is so. And this is not a lecture in mathematics or in physics. With this, you can build or destroy. But then I'm like, I was really, really nervous. And then I stopped. I said, I should be super happy that we're able to dive into this wisdom and actually learn to swim. We're learning to swim. It's incredible, the exposure of such wisdom and such secrets. And that gave me the nachat, the simchat, to be able to jump in. Okay. So
we're happy to be learning from you. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Right. We're learning together. So, okay. So we start the perek tet, 9th perek pasuk aleph. Ki et kol ele natati et libi velabur et kol ze. All of this that we have spoken until now, and everything that I'm about to tell you, natati et libi. I analyzed it, and I took it to heart. Okay, I internalized it. I related to it not only on an intellectual level, but also on an emotional level. I gave it to my heart. I took it from an intellectual dynamic and thought process, internalize it emotionally to see how that vibrates emotionally inside the person. And I broke it down. I reorganized all those different lessons, all those different situations, and everything that we've been exposed to. I was able to recompartmentalize it. Asher atzadikim ve'achachamim va'avadehem beyad ha'elokim. And the reality And what I see is that the tzaddikim, the chachamim, va'avadehem, avadehem is the ones that, it could be or, ovdehem ilashon, and all their actions. Va'avadehem is all the people around them, the people that are close to them. Biyad ha'elokim, they are all in the hands of Elokim. They are also under the influence of the rules and regulations Hashem put in nature. Gam ahava, gam sin'ah, the love, the hate, en yodei ha'adam, hakol lifnehem. The hate and love that is triggered inside a person, okay? En yodei ha'adam, a person doesn't know what will be the outcome. Hakol lifnehem, everything is already in front of them. So here the Shlomo HaMelech, in one level of understanding, is saying that the emotional reaction, meaning the simcha and the sin'ah, the love, sorry, not the simcha, the ahava, the love and the hate, which are emotional reactions to accept or to reject. Ahava is to unify, to become one. That's what the ahava has, the same gematria, the same numerology as the word echad, 13. The true ahava, the true love is when you become one, when you are one with someone. When you are 1 + 1, it's not ahava. 1 and 1, it's not ahava. 1 is ahava. So the love, the unity, the gam sin'ah, the rejection, the despisement, and yodei ha'adam is not something a man can really understand or expect, okay, or project. Hakol lifnehem, everything is depending on their choice. Meaning, you cannot project love, unity. You cannot project hate unless you actually make choices that will yield love or yield hate. What does and the sforno that goes along, the philosophy that we're taking is basically saying that the love and the hate is not something that you're exposed to by default. It's a reaction of your efforts. You can yield love and you can yield hate. Nothing will come to you and become one with you just because, and nothing will go away from you just because. For example, and be careful, we're talking about tzaddikim, chachamim, and avdehem. A very tight circle of tzaddikim, people that are very righteous, chachamim, people that are connected intellectually to Hashem and live with it. We know the definition of a chacham, right? And we know the definition of a tzaddik. And the ones that are along with them and are learning from them and are drinking from their behavior. These people, the ahava and the sin'ah, are something that they control. So nobody can come and say, well, you know what? This is predisposed for you to be good. You're going to be good at parnasa. You're going to be bad socially. You're going to have, if you do, people think that I'm very good at, therefore it's easy. It's easy. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Your actions are, and the outcome of your actions are all in your hands. Why? Because you are in tune with yourself. You have a chacham, which is the chaim, as we spoke about. Okay, you have the if you want, you're in touch with this power, and now you can influence and engage with Hashem's will in nature, and bring out the ahava, the unity, or push back something. So when somebody comes, the chacham, the tzaddik, and the event of them will never come and say, "What do you want?" That's how I'm wired. Hashem made me this way. This is an answer that will never be tolerated by those type of people. If you are a real chacham or you're a real tzaddik, you cannot come and say, "Well, Hashem didn't give me beracha for this." Your ability to connect to something or to refrain from something is in your hands. Good? This is your bechira. The bechira, your free will, is your ability to choose through your knowledge, through the harmonial connection with Hashem, as a chacham or a tzaddik, what you want to yield and trigger in life. Do you want unity, or do you want to be separated and push away something? So what is the chacham going to do? He's going to connect to the proper surrounding. He's going to want to be able to connect to the right beracha, to the right line of work, and reject the wrong people, the bad influence, the bad behavior, the bad values. So when we talk about love and hate, we don't just talk about an emotional reaction. We talk about the concept of love, which is unity, and the concept of hate, which is rejection. Good? Okay. Very good. And obviously, all this within the parameters of Elohim, right? Under the sun. Hakol, all those levels of connection, Hakol. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called Kol. Kol, when we say Hakol, what do we mean? All the interactions, Hashem's interactions in creation, Ka'asher Lakol, will be the reflection, Ka'asher, will be the outcome, Lakol, to everyone. So every person will choose the level of connection and the level of interaction with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and with life.
Did we skip Hakol Lifnehem?
I'm sorry?
Did we skip Hakol Lifnehem in the end of the first sentence?
No, we said Hakol Lif. No, sorry. Hakol Lifnehem, everything is in front of them. Everything is for them to do. Hakol Lifnehem HaKavanah, everything, they're exposed to all. And to their decisions. Hakol Lifnehem, everything is in front of you. Now it's up to you to choose.
So I was having trouble understanding that pasuk in the beginning, but it's here really to show you that don't think that you don't have the power to choose because of where you stand in life or what you were given. You still have the power to choose, right?
Correct. Now, if I'm going to open a bracket and I'm going to close it very, very fast. The Targum says exactly the opposite. He says the tzaddik, the chacham, the eved are under the full control of Hashem, completely. Even their emotions, their love, their hate, their emotional troubles, everything is under Hashem's will and full control. Now, going back to what Stanley was saying in the last shiur, okay? So, how does that break, how do we break down the Hashem's interaction and the mazal, right? You're addressed at the end of the shiur. So the Zohar HaKadosh, that is brought by the Ramchal in that Tvunot, the Ramchal explains that Hashem has two parallel systems. One system, it's called mazal, which is referred to what we just spoke about, Okay, and the Ramchal also is within the bracket of the middle. Yeah, and another interaction with Hashem is called Gzera, decree, where Hashem injects His decree and it cannot be reversed. So basically, He leaves you in the hands of the Mazal, i.e., what we just spoke about, until He sees He needs to get involved and impose upon you something that you cannot reverse, a decree. Who do we know was exposed to that? Paro. Paro had the ability to behave a certain way. He chose to take it to a complete different level, to the point that Hashem came and boom. So there, if you will, it's a bi-dimensional interaction. Good? This is the Ramchal. The Targum takes an angle of everything is in the hands of Hashem, even the tzaddik, even the chacham, everything in the hands of Hashem. But his keyword, he says, everything is under the mazal and in front of Hashem. It's a gzera of Hashem that is called mazal. So the diluted version, if we want to try to make things a little bit softer and not too much machloket between them, then what the Targum is basically saying is that everyone is inside, lives within the box of what we call the mazal, based on our, and it is Gzerat Hashem, it is the Gezerah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, meaning the outcome is exactly the way Hashem predicted it. Which direction you take. But the outcome is Hashem predicted already. That if you let a piece of lead fall, nothing's going to happen to it. But if you take crystal and you let it fall, it's going to crack. If you put your hand in fire, it's going to burn. If you put your hand in water, you won't get burnt. All this is what we call, or what we can identify as the mazal. Rules and regulations and interactions. Good?
Rav.
If you learn it factually, then that would be a version of the opinion of the Baal Shem Tov.
Baal Shem Tov, right?
Yeah, that is the opinion of Baal Shem Tov. I was just going to say.
Correct. I diluted it because if you learn the Targum properly, the Targum uses a keyword. He says he called it mazal. He didn't have to call it mazal. The second he uses the word mazal and gzera, he basically is referring, to my opinion, to what the Ramchal approach is, which is very, very aligned with the same opinion. But that's giving a lot of credit to that specific word that the Targum is using. If you want to be very blunt and learn it on a shallow level, then you can learn it like the Baal Shem Tov.
When you say Targum, who are you talking about?
The hybrid version.
I don't know which book you have, but the Kohelet was meturgam. It was translated in Aramaic.
Okay.
Rav.
All right. So
sorry.
Yeah.
How would somebody of the mindset and the philosophy of Baal Shem Tov answer the simple question, which is, if Hashem controls anything, why don't I just sit in bed all day and do nothing?
Just adlut.
No, Hashem controls everything. If you lift your arm, Hashem controls it. Why do I need hishtadlut if Hashem controls everything?
So the answer that he will tell you is your emotion to want to choose to want to be close to Hashem. The second you want to be close to Hashem, and this is it's an emotion. It's a decision, if you want. It's a decision. Then this triggers a system. And what's the system? The system is to put tefillin, to go to shul, to not say lashon hara, to eat kasher, okay. But once it's like you turn on the light, right? You turn on the switch, and then whatever comes out, it's automatic. It's automatic.
So you get one decision. That's it.
Right. That's it. Well, it's a continuous decision, right? It's a continuous decision to.
But it's really one
turn
overarching
the switch
decision
on
that
and
you
off.
make
That's
every day.
all. According to the Baal Shem Tov, that's all it is. Turn the switch on or turn the switch off.
Somebody yesterday after Minyan, he said he looked at somebody and he said, why do you go to work today? What's the point? If Hashem is perfect and Hashem decides everything, he's giving you the same parnasah, whether you stay home, whether you go, what's the difference? Stay home, learn all day. Well, it's going to be the same thing if you have belief. The guy was dumbfounded. He didn't even know how to respond to him.
Well, there's truth to that. We addressed it already. If you remember the Gaon Mivilna that says that if you the more you are dependent and the more you're taken care of, only if you're fully aligned with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Only.
Right. So, and it's like a vessel. It's like, okay, you need 100%. So if you're 60% dependent on Hashem, you need 40% hishtadlut. If you're 80%,
right.
then you need 20% hishtadlut. Is that true?
That's right. That's right.
Woo.
But the Gaon says the Gibor Ha'il, who is he? Is the person that couldn't care less. He has so much emunah in Hashem that he couldn't care less if he sees his children starving.
Right. Yeah, that's next level.
Because he knows that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of them. Now, are we at that level? None of us is at that level. I mean, I'm not at that level. Yeah.
I'm definitely not at that level.
So we have to be honest with ourselves.
Definitely married to a Syrian girl.
Yeah, and like the Ramban says also on Verapo Yerape, we said it. Verapo Yerape, Hashem natan reshut larofe lerapot. That Hashem gave the right to the doctors to cure. Why is that? Because mishum ketane amana. Because of the people that don't believe in Him. Because if you really believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu fully, then Hashem would have cured you. What does that mean? That means Hashem knows that we don't believe fully in Him, and He put a system in place just for that. Right? How many people? Even Moshe Rabbeinu had to pray for Aaron and Miriam and said, "Kelna refanala," to cure them. So even Aaron and Miriam needed the intervention of a Rofe. So who are we to say no? Good.
Good. I think.
All right. So this is the first pasuk. First pasuk is an assignment, not assignment, an assessment of the rules and the parameters that the tzaddik and the chacham v'avadim are exposed to, but also their outlook. Because they're exposed to this interaction, everything depends on you. So you take full responsibility of what you will bring close to you, what you will bring far from you, what you will protect yourself from, and what you will expose yourself to. Good. Hakol, all the levels of relationships that Hashem has, all the different ways of interaction, ka'asher lakol, are the reflection to everyone, for everyone at that point. That now it's not only the chacham, the tzaddik, it's everyone. Everyone will define which relationship he wants with Hashem. Kol hamadrigot, all the siyata dishmaya, like we said in the past. Depending on how much you let Hashem in your life, He will influence you. You don't want, He won't. Right? We addressed it at the end of the last period. Mikre echad, there is no protection. There is no favoritism. Mikre echad, there's one rule and regulation and one system. La tzaddik, vela rasha, la tov, la tahor, vela tameh, ולזובח, ולאשר איננו זובח, the one that pray, the one that doesn't, the one that's pure, the one that's not, the one that's tzaddik, the one that's rasha, katov, kachote. The same way the tov, the good, is exposed, the bad is exposed. Hanishba ka'asher shvu'a yareh. Everything everything revolves around even the one that controls his speech, the one that swears. Anishba, the one that swears, he will get what he swore. So the impact of a person, and it's very important to address here, because obviously Shlomo HaMelech is not missing words, okay, to say what he wants to say, but he talks about what? He talks about the tzaddik and the rasha, the righteous and the not righteous. Tov, which is the one that, the Tov, the definition, the one that does good to people, the one that acts kind, the one that is devoted to the people, that wants to help. That's the Tov. The Tahor, the one that has a pure thought process, that it doesn't have a contaminated head, that is not wicked. The Tameh, the one that has impure thoughts, crooked thoughts, manipulative thoughts, lies to people intellectually, makes them believe certain things to get them to do whatever they want. That's the Tameh, the impure. Zoveach, the one that prays, that has an intimate relationship with Hashem. Katov kachote, the Tov, the giving, the giver, and the chote, the one that sins, okay, the one that is all for himself. Both are facing the same system. Hanishba, the one that's easy to talk nonsense. He swears right and left, right and left. He can say whatever he wants. The same thing.
Bob,
Yeah.
to
The one
swear
that refrains himself from
is to
talking.
talk. Oh,
I'm
sorry. When it says it swears, is that it really swears or to talk Devarim Betelim?
No, it's Dvarim Betelim. Is the one that has somebody that can swear easily is somebody that has no respect for himself, for his own identity. So he's going to talk about nonsense all the time. I swear to you, I swear to you that. If you understood what swearing means, you would refrain yourself, right? But the problem is that you have no value of your speech. So for you, speaking is cheap, means nothing. So you can swear also. So that one, or the one that is fearful of and refraining himself from swearing, meaning he understands the power of speech. Everyone is under one system. Now, what do we have? We have the man. We have a vertical that's called actions. The tov, the chote. We have one vertical which is called the values, the tzaddik and the rasha. We have another vertical that's called the zoveach and enu zoveach, the connected one, the spiritual one, and the one that's not spiritual. And then we have another vertical that is called the one that has self-respect for himself and for what he will say, intellectual, and the one that doesn't have a self-respect and that's going to vomit anything that comes through his head. So how many verticals do we have, Adam? 5.
3.
What do you mean 3? Again.
The values.
The tzaddik and the rasha is 1.
Okay.
The giving and the non-giving and the selfish is 2. The praying and the non-praying, meaning the spiritual and the non-spiritual, is 3.
Self-respect.
The pure and the impure is the intellectual. That's 4. And the one that has respect for his essence, that has self-respect, and the one that doesn't, is 5. The nishba ka'asher shivua yareh. Right?
Okay.
So we have 5 facets that we always have to evaluate and decide whether we're going to be the Chacham, the Tzaddik, Va'avadehem, or the other way around, the Rasha.
Can you explain number 3, Rav? The one who offers versus the one who doesn't offer. What
That's
does that mean?
tefillah,
Exactly?
prayers, the offerings,
Oh, okay.
tefillah,
Okay,
the
got it.
spiritual connection, the intimate relationship with Hashem. The one that's sensitive to that relationship versus the one that's careless of that relationship.
Thank you.
So when it says they all share the same fate, is that talking about in the physical world, like death?
Yes. Yeah. No. That death is a pashut. Death, it's pashut. The same fate, meaning the same rules of nature.
Got it. So
There's no
when
privilege.
Rambam says that they were put in with a certain set of rules, this is what it's talking about. Human they come out and they act and they do. Everybody does the same. They all have the same ability to do, no matter what vertical they are.
That's right. Now,
But
what will trigger unity and strength? Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
was it predetermined what vertical you are?
No, those verticals are what you're made of. These are different facets of your life, right?
You could be more than one vertical also.
To intellect. Everybody is exposed to values. Everybody is exposed to spirituality. Everybody is exposed to self-esteem. Correct?
Yeah.
These are facets of each and every individual's lives. Now, you have to be able to, on each vertical, to decide whether you're going to be chacham or not. What is the nafkamina? What's the difference if you choose to be chacham or not in each vertical? The outcome. Will you control the ahava in that vertical? Unity and growth and progress and love and evolution? Or chas v'shalom, no. Sin'ah, rejection. Are you going to push away your beracha or are you going to bring it closer? I don't know if you guys heard the shiur last night, but it's mind-boggling at how it's aligned. I'm shocked more and more that they're so interconnected. It's amazing. It's like I'm telling you, we're on an anikavod. We're in this like teva, and Hashem is guiding us. It's spectacular. But basically what Shlomo is telling us here is that if you don't choose, then you're basically the Rasha, right? If you're not the Chacham, then you're the Ksili, you're the fool, right? Forget about the Rasha, you're the fool. You cannot be in between. Now, it could be that you're going to be Chacham in certain verticals, in certain aspects, and a fool in others. Meaning, you can be a man of values, a man of self-respect, a man of spirituality, but you don't have you don't have you don't have a
what?
or me for religion is you have to have good values. You have to be good with people. That's enough. Before you talk about putting tefillin and eating kosher, be a good man. Right? So, on a very sectarian, judgmental approach, from a religious perspective, you could say, what are you talking about? Who are you? You think that because you're a good guy, that makes you religious? Or that makes you good? No, you have to put tefillin, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. Yeah. That's from a religious perspective. But if you take it from a technical perspective of nefesh, and you break down the system, you're going to tell the guy, well, you know what? Chazaku Baruch. Bless you, Kenny. Chazaku Baruch. You know what? You are amazing in this vertical. Tfaddal, bravo. Chazak, you're a chacham. But be a chacham also in that vertical, and be a chacham also in that vertical. So when you do your introspection and you analyze yourself, you can know if you're a chacham or you're a fool in each vertical. You know where your values are. You know where your spirituality is. You know where your mind is. Do you have a crooked mind? Are you manipulative? Are you lying to people intellectually? Are you misleading people, or you're being honest? So depending on if you have a table in front of you with each vertical, okay, and you analyze yourself, okay, how am I there? Am I a chacham or am I a fool? And you put the right effort into each vertical, you're gonna see a direct impact in your lifestyle. Why? Because mishpat echad. It's one rule and one regulation for everybody. Yes.
But Rabbi, it's not a guarantee that if you have good actions, the outcome will be good.
Oh, so maybe not the good you expect. There's a difference between good and between what you define as good. Okay, that's the other problem. Our problem is our expectations. Correct. You can fool yourself all you want, but if you're honest with yourself, then you know that if you
have to see everything good. Is that how we should see everything?
Yes. At the end, you have to. No, 1 second. If you are a random, if you live the life of a fool.
No.
If you see the good, it's not really good. And if you see the bad, it's not really bad. Okay? It's just random. It's just it's pashut. If you take a glass, you throw it on the floor, it's gonna break. Don't cry. It's the reality. It's not good or bad. That's the reality, right? Now, if you are the chacham, if you are chacham, okay, then you know that if you do something good, good will come out. And if you do something foolish, bad will come out.
Okay.
Even if in your eyes it looks good, or it immediately looks bad. If you know that what you did is good, or you know what you did is bad, you're going to know the outcome and you're going to trust it. Because if you don't trust the system Hashem put in place, then favoritism, life is unfair, life is this. I was thrown a bad
hand.
A bad hand. Malasot. No, there is rules for everybody, and there's good and bad depending on your actions. Now, if you're not in control and you're random, then too bad for you. You're gambling. You're gambling with your life. Maybe you'll be lucky, maybe you won't. You're chacham, then you know that for sure doing the right thing is going to be good.
Rob, quick question. Sorry. Can you just explain one more time the difference between Lesadik Rasha and Katov and Kachote? Seems like the same thing.
No. The tzaddik and the rasha is the righteous and the non-righteous. The one that has good midot, good values, versus the one that has bad values. The tov is the giving versus the selfish. Are you open to help? Are you engaged and sensitive to your surrounding? Or are you curious yourself? Different.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure. Tzaddik and Rasha, if you want a keyword, instead of values, is the honest and dishonest. Tzaddik milashon tzedek. Tzedek is justice. Good?
Good.
טוב. All right. פסוק ג' זה, what we've just discussed, רע בכל אשר נעשה תחת השמש, is looked at bad, meaning the chacham, the tzaddik, the va'avadehem look at this exposure under the sun as something that's bad. Because everybody is living within one system, which is what? The physical world. וגם לב בני אדם מלא רע והוללות בליבם בלבבם בחייהם. And they're exposed also to a society that is wicked and bad and shallow and selfish in their life. ואחריו, and after that, אל המתים. At the end, that life goes to what's the end of this physical life? It's death. Here is again the outlook of the Chacham and the Tzaddik on the physical life. This world, for them, for the Chacham, wasting time, being involved in nonsense, being exposed to all this futility and waste is bad. This is the Ra. This is the Ra. And there's nothing to do about it because and the Tzaddikim don't have a special place. They don't have the Gan Eden they can live in. So they have to face what everybody's exposed to, what the humanity is exposed to. And on top of that, Lev Bnei Adam, the heart, the nature of people, is full of bad and emptiness and foolishness. That's how they live their lives. And after this life, what is it? What is to expect to the physical life, right? To the body, to the physical life. What is to expect? Hamitim, death. So there's nothing, there's no outcome. This is the outlook that the Chacham and that the Tzaddik has on the interaction with society, with mundane society, with humanity, and the waste of time and efforts for the nonsense. And unfortunately, they have to be exposed to it because they have to live their life, they have to support their family, they have to be engaged with the physical world.
Rav, we said Adam HaRishon, he committed the first sin, correct?
Yeah.
So it says here ultimately they go to Gehinnom if you're living that life of evil and under the sun. My question is why would Hashem create a world in which many of his creations are going to be led to Gehinnom and evil? Why didn't he destroy this world the same way he destroyed everyone else's once Adam sinned?
It's a very good question. It's a dangerous question because when we ask why Hashem did that, you're trying to understand Hashem. Okay. Now, what the only reason Hashem destroyed the world is because there was no outcome. Here Hashem made sure that there is teshuvah to the avera, to the sin. And he put teshuvah before he created the world. Teshuvah is one of the things that Hashem created before he created the world.
So the essence of this world is teshuvah.
I'm sorry?
The essence of this world is teshuvah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's crazy.
From the few hours Adam was in Gan Eden until today, we're doing teshuvah on that one action. And this is what Chachamim say, במקום שבעל תשובה עומד, אפילו צדיק גמור אינו עומד שם. A בעל תשובה is higher than a tzaddik. What does that mean? Tzaddik is the one that knows, it's tzedek, justice. He knows where he holds, he knows what he knows, he knows what he doesn't know. He's okay. He's very factual. The Baal Teshuvah, the one that does Teshuvah, he knows that it's never enough. Because if he's in this world, that means he has a purpose to serve, which is what the Teshuvah of who? Not of him only, the Teshuvah of humanity, the Teshuvah of Adam HaRishon. So it's constantly growing and constantly fixing Adam HaRishon.
So Baal Teshuvah is basically, it's a blessing.
By the way, a Baal Teshuvah, you can be the biggest tzaddik. You're going to go and talk to him. He's going to tell you, "Oh, I am a Baal Teshuvah. I am a Baal Teshuvah." Yeah. Today you see, this guy's a Baal Teshuvah. It's like it's like a pejorative statement. If you say, "I'm Baal Teshuvah," that means before you weren't so good. Yeah? So people love it. People love it. This guy is a Baal Teshuvah because they want to connect him to the, one day, today is good, but don't forget, he was bad. That's how wicked the human brain is. Because we think that by saying this, that the guy is great, we're belittling ourselves. That's not true, but that's the ego and the low self-esteem and confidence that people have. And you'll see. You talk about somebody great, a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but before you know this guy did this, or did you know this guy did that? Just so that they can feel secure that by saying something good about someone, they're not being belittled.
Okay, that answer also follows Baal Shem Tov. If Adam Harishon was predetermined to do that sin and Hashem created Teshuvah before, then I agree with Baal Shem Tov.
What do you mean?
I'm not going to be controversial, but
no, afuch. What do you mean?
I'm saying.
But then okay, no, I understand what you're saying. So my question to you is the following: then why make a world and make the world sin, and then you? It's not nobody's sin. It's you made him sin and you made him do teshuvah. So what's the point?
That's my question.
He's playing with himself. That has nothing to do.
Right, but that's my question.
Exactly. So that's the fundamental question on the Baal Shem Tov. Good.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Well,
Adam, it's the opposite of Baal Shem Tov, because if there's teshuvah that you need to do, then you have to apply yourself, which is the opposite of what you're saying Baal Shem Tov is. There's always teshuvah to be made.
Comes from you. That's what Stephen is saying. He's right. If Hashem makes you do teshuvah, then it's not teshuvah. The same way, if he makes you sin, it's not a sin. So if he makes you do teshuvah, it's not teshuvah. Then what is it? So what the Baal Shem Tov will tell you, it's your emotion where you want to be. Do you want to be in the chet or do you want to be in the mitzvah? Do you want to be tahor or you want to be tamid? After that, everything, once you choose, which direction to go, everything is preset. But since every second you have to choose, so everything is preset, but you keep on moving. Okay? No?
Can't stop.
Okay.
I think we need to bring a guest of honor next time to the shiur.
Anyone you want.
Who's that?
I think we need Moses Towel for this one.
I'll pass on it. So just to recap the second, Moses is very.
No, that's why.
I'm sure you will. Huh?
He's very, very, very smart, and very.
No, he came to a lot of my shiurim.
Yes, and he's very strong in his position. So I like to hear that aggressive opinion to challenge, the thinking.
Yeah, we did that once. Actually, many times. But you know what? Baruch haba, I take the challenge. So just to recap the third pasuk. The third pasuk basically is the outlook of the tzaddik, of the chacham, on the waste of time or the system that is imposed on humanity to have to deal with mundanity and with the foolish aspects of life, such as having to work and blah 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 and blah blah blah. What's very important to also to note is that Shlomo HaMelech, first of all, defines clearly. The Chacham has a very, very clear definition of that aspect of life. It's called Ra. Okay? It's called bad. Bad. Not bad because it's bad. Bad because it's stopping you to do good. It's taking away your time to do good. That's why it's bad. Okay? And number two, the two factors of what it's broken down into. Number one, the fact that most people are shallow, they're immersed and they drowned into that lifestyle, and they believe this is all there is. And number two, because at the end there's really no outcome from it. That's it. The body's dead, he's buried, and khalas, nothing else. There's nothing to expect. So this is, if you want, the thought process or the intellectual information that the Chacham takes in order to not to lose track or a proper outlook of the Ra of this world. The outcome on people, what it turns people into, okay? It makes people shallow, it makes people empty, it makes people bad, it makes people jealous, it makes people animals. So why go that route and think it's good? And number two, there's no end to it. The end is like there's nothing to expect after death. Nothing, zero. In a minute. Good. So with this outlook and this philosophy of the Chacham can define that at the end, wasting time is davar ra. But we have to do it. So what do? We minimize the ra. We minimize the bad. And how do you minimize the bad? By being very efficient, by being very in tune with the system, in order to free yourself and use your wisdom and your time as good as possible for what is tov.
Thank you, Ra.
Good? Beautiful. Baruch Hashem. We made it the first 3 psukim. We made it alive.
Great.
Chazak u'baruch.
Thank you, Raf.
We're still swimming.
Beruchim to you. Let me know if
Thank you. Chodesh Tov.
Besimcha. Let me know if Tawi is on for the next year.
No, I was kidding.
Oh.
Good job.
All right, guys. That's